On RiverBender.com. Welcome back, Daily Show on this 20th day of February. Trustee for the Village of Godfrey, Rick Lauschke, in studio. I got to just start off with this question. Are you excited for April 2nd?
Yes, I am.
How's life treating you? How's life treating you on this Thursday?
Oh, life's treating me fine. It's just, you're busy between work and then you're trying to campaign and it gets hectic. And
yeah.
I don't have a background in campaigning, okay? I've got a government affairs director that has been a big help as to how you might go about things, but I'm just a business person.
Is this your first time running for re-election?
Yes.
Wow. So what's different from for running for re-election than running maybe just as somebody seeking office the first time?
Well, I really want this one. I want one more term. At that point, I'll probably not go again. But we'll wait and see. The first time I ran, because at the time they were talking about trying to do a city manager, and I just don't think Godfrey's at a point where we need to go pay for a city manager and have a mayor part-time. So that's why I ran for it then, and I saw some other things I just wanted to get into. Mm-hmm. Now we're at a point where we've got certain things we've got to do, and the forum got taken over by this comprehensive plan and growing Godfrey. But to me, the comprehensive plan is critical right now because we don't have a plan so that we can start trying to figure out what we want to do with business, what we want to do with zoning. And we need to bring some more people in here, but at a modest rate that we can manage it. Well,
and that's such a good topic, too, because that really was. I mean, if you had a drinking game for comprehensive plan, you would have had a pretty successful night. But when I hear that, though, and this is something that it's not a pod shot or anything, is it actually going to be followed? Because so many cities and townships have these plans that we hear about, and then nothing ever goes through.
That is key. And the thing that I would get into with it is that if we have a really good comprehensive plan, we're going to have a lot of steps that help us achieve that. Mm-hmm. My impression is, and the way I would want to do it as a trustee, is we're going to look at it at least every 6 months and evaluate ourselves on whether we're doing it.
I like it.
It took me 2 years to find out we had a comprehensive plan for parks, bike paths, and pedestrian paths.
Wow.
Now, you look at that path, that plan, it's a heck of a plan.
Mm-hmm.
And we're following some of it, but as a board, we've never looked at that plan, and we should see where we are with it and what do we have to do it. But yeah, comprehensive plans usually get thrown in a drawer and nobody looks at them, but we have to bring that back out into the
It goes into an accountability side where you're monitoring, hey, are we actually doing the things that we've set processes out to accomplish?
Yeah, and I think it keeps us focused on where our resources go. Because right now we get caught into some things, we'll do this, but where does that really sit in the whole plan?
Right. And, on top of that, too, Godfrey has something that, not a lot of townships truly have, maybe Wood River in a sense, but that's land to grow with. I mean, you guys have that 255 corridor and just spaces that it seems like if you grow the right way, it could be a really prosperous, 50 years down the road plan, because obviously that's not going to happen tomorrow.
Right.
But it's just there's actual hope there in terms of sustainable good growth.
Right. And the thing is, where do we grow the business corridor?
Yeah.
Our Godfrey Road is our corridor right now. And it really needs to try to be more consistent from a business corridor. Mm-hmm. Now they want to go north out on Lars Hoffman, but I don't know that we're going to be able to acquire land or anybody's going to be able to acquire land at a good price. So the question is, where else can we do it? And I look at that to come out of a comprehensive plan.
Yeah. And, and on top of that, too, when people are running for office, especially the first time for a trustee or an aldermanic position, and this is where I'm fascinated, too, is sometimes that you hear these ideas that are wonderful, but it's just outside of the scope of, trustee. It's outside of the scope of an alder person. Well, and I got to ask you, now that you've been doing this for 4 years, you're running for another 4, what have you learned in that time of just collaboration? Like you said, accountability on council, figuring out where these paths, these corridors should sit. What's that like working with, at least trying to find that majority on the trustee board?
Well, it's always a challenge. When I first got onto the board, I didn't run with any grandiose schemes. It was I'm pro-business, pro-growth, and fiscally responsible. Mm-hmm. So if anybody's watched the meetings, I tend to get into issues on why are we doing this? What's the financial part of this thing, and how are we going to pay for it? I'll still do that, but this time I want to focus on how are we going to plan to grow, and how do we go recruit businesses in here instead of waiting for them to come get us.
Right.
And I think that is a critical part of it. And I'd like to see if we do. I think PGAV is the one to do the comprehensive plan with. I've seen their plans. I like the way they collect the information and do things.
What was the holdup there, and why are we going back in circle? Don't want to say we because I don't live in Godfrey, but just watching this, it seems like there was a little bit of a disconnect.
I think it's a difference of opinion on who's best for it.
Okay.
There's 4 of us sat and watched the presentation from the 2 planners. My choice, when I looked at it, clearly PGAV had a by far better presentation, a method of collecting the information, analyzing the information. The couple plans that I've seen them do, they're pretty in-depth. They got good concrete steps to achieving those goals. Mm-hmm. And I think there's other things they can help us with. Yeah. One of it is how do we put together a marketing packet to bring in businesses or retail? Why should you come to Godfrey? And here's the reasons. And I'm not sure we're real clear on how we do that today. A lot of it is business eventually finds us.
Well, and that's, how can you incentivize without, giving out maybe a little bit too much of the horse in the wagon and losing some of the I guess the revenue off of a business coming into town? Is that something that you've kind of had conversations about? Because I know people give incentives like, maybe TIF funds or, freezing some of the licensing fees or, doing something to help. Have you looked into those? Or I'm sure you have.
Godfrey has probably about... If I had to guess, we probably got about $11 or $12 million sitting in, excuse me, business district funds, TIF funds. Really? And we're also part of an enterprise zone that comes out of Jerseyville that's part of that modal center they're trying to do.
Oh, yeah.
So you have some incentives there. I would like to have seen a 4-year tax rebate or a tax. They get rid of your taxes for 4 years once you build a new building. But excuse me, but they didn't do that. But there are 3 tools there to do that, and we've got some flexibility to do it.
Well, and see, that seems like it's safe flexibility where it's not, you're basically selling yourself out just for, I don't want to see, but you're selling yourself out in terms of hoping that business is successful and is able to, replenish or do whatever they can to get you back up to even.
Yeah, we've had some people that want to do things here, and we'll work with them on the TIF. Mm-hmm. One of the things that when we first got into it, I was watching is that, okay, if we'll give them TIF money and we'll work it, and we do the TIF money through services, whether it's land grading, surveying, the infrastructure to get there, that kind of sewers, whatever we need for that kind of stuff. But I also want to make sure and put caveats on it that if you're going to build a new retail building, you're not bringing somebody that's already in Godfrey out of some place and into your place. That does us no good at that point.
Right.
But if you're coming into the city new, Scooters was new. We helped them. We're going to help Top Shelf Liquor. We helped, I can't remember who the third one. We gave some assistance to them, but it's usually in services. And we talked about that with the hotel. Yeah. We'll help you with services. We're not just going to give you cash. Well, so you go from there.
And, I was curious about it because the hotel thing I follow a lot, try to as much as I can. And, I don't get into the weeds of it. I just know that it was discussed. Do you see a need for the hotel in Godfrey currently, or do you see the growth in Godfrey leading to that? Because sports tourism is something that everyone needs hotels for, because of all the club teams that come in, if you build it, they'll come for tournaments. Is that kind of, just curious?
Well, that's a big question.
Sorry, I didn't.
No, the hotels will see the need.
Yeah. I
can say we have a need, but the hotels are the ones that decide whether they have a need to come in here or not. But I think the sports tourism thing it could be a very critical vehicle to growing. And one of the things Trustee Lombardi and I had talked about, we sort of talked about it with Alton a couple of times. Okay. So when you look at Alton, Godfrey, and don't forget Lewis and Clark, it's a gem.
It is.
We all have fields. We all have sports facilities that we could use. The question is, how can we coordinate it, and what can we actually get here? Yep. Now, there's talk in the area where it will, or if it will, is a sports complex that's a much bigger complex that deals with regional tournaments, not just local tournaments, but regional, state, nationwide tournaments. Well, that's a big undertaking, but if you can get something like that put in a certain spot, you can start driving hotels, you can start driving retail. I want to be very careful how it stresses our infrastructure and our emergency response services.
That's a huge...
Because that could be, I don't want to be a logjam to get to one end of town to the other town like Edwardsville is at times.
Right.
You hit the wrong day, you're stuck in traffic.
Or getting at that light in Jerseyville, you'll be there until Tuesday, you know?
Well, and home prices will go up, but I don't want to see them go up meteorically so that some people just lose the opportunity to get into a house.
Yeah.
And that, again, is part of a comprehensive plan because as you grow, you need all types of housing. It's just single family, duplexes, you can do quadplex, you need apartments. When you get into apartments, the person managing it is crucial. If they don't manage it, it's going to turn into junk. But if you get a good manager, it'll stay a good property. Right now, I think Emmons and Crest have probably the most. They're nice condos or nice apartments everywhere. So there is a place for that. You just got to figure out where you're going to do it and how you're going to do it.
Absolutely.
But you got to have all levels of housing for all levels of income.
And, do you have a moment to take a quick break with me and we'll come back?
Fine.
Perfect. I got to pay a quick bill anyway. It's 9:25. We'll come back. Great conversation with Trustee Rick Lauschke. More as we head closer and closer to April the 1st. That's the consolidated election. You stay there. We'll stay here in the studio on RiverBender.
Hey, would you drop by the pharmacy? My doctor switched my cholesterol medication.
Yeah, will do, honey. I'm glad he's looking out for you.
OSF Healthcare can handle all of your family's primary care needs, including managing chronic conditions. Schedule an appointment today.
What are you doing?
We did our home insurance ourselves, but don't feel protected.
So you're building your own American Family Insurance roof line?
Yeah, life's better when you're protected under American Family's roof.
That's not how it works.
Dad, we'll go. It's gonna hit.
See, that's how it works.
For real protection, save up to 23% by bundling your home and auto with us.
With over 20 years of experience, Wilson's Tree Service has the expertise to handle all of your tree care needs. Licensed and fully insured, their team of experts are dedicated to providing reliable service. Plus, with a 24-hour emergency service line, Wilson's will always be there for you. Don't risk tackling that timber by yourself. Trust the local professionals at Wilson's Tree Service. Visit treeservicealtonil.org to get started today.
No matter the season, Play It Again Sports in Edwardsville has the gear the athletes need to get in the game. Whether you're shopping for the newest sports equipment or saving money on quality used gear, Play It Again Sports carries what you need to maximize performance to get the most out of every swing, kick, stroke, or shot. We'll even buy your used goods, paying cash on the spot. We carry all the gear for all the sports all year long. We're your hometown sporting goods store. Play It Again Sports, conveniently located at 4 Club Center Court in Edwardsville. Picture This and More has been a trusted name in the Alton community for more than 30 years, with the last 3 being right here on Broadway. We specialize in quality framing at affordable prices. We also feature works by local artists because we're proud of our community. If you have valued treasures to display and preserve, we're sure to have the perfect fit with our large selection of custom framing and display options. Whatever color, shape, or size, Picture This and More has the look you need. Stop by today and let us help you with your next project.
Village Dispensary has the best deals in Godfrey, Illinois with specials 5 days a week. Mondays, roll in the week with 20 to 30% off select pre-rolls. Tasty Tuesdays, enjoy 20 to 30% off select edibles. Waxy Wednesdays, enjoy 20 to 30% off select concentrate and vape brands. Thirsty Thursdays, sip and save with 20 to 30% off all drinks. Flower Friday, grab like 3.5 gram flower deals starting at just $20. Village Dispensary, come meet your best buds.
You're listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com.
Welcome back. 9:27, a little bit of change. Rick Lauschke back in the studio. You know, what does the campaign look like for a trustee? Are you out knocking doors and making phone calls, or
not in this temperature? No, right now. Excuse me. Right now, I got signs up, but I expect I'll probably go out knocking doors the 1st of March, provided it's not 12 below, provided we don't have 12 inches of snow. But I knock on doors and I leave door hangers. Some people I get to talk to, a lot of people I don't get to talk to, but at least I'm trying to get out and talk to them and understand what it is they're in favor of, what they're against.
Yeah.
And I if people want to call and tell me something, I'm glad to take their opinions on stuff. In the end, I'll look at all the facts and I'll still vote a way. It may be their way, it may not be their way.
Well, and see, it's important though, because it's a two-pronged approach when it comes to government and just how it works. And so many times you see these folks that get upset over one decision that's made. God knows when, over God knows what, and the problem I have with it is half the time we don't even know who our elected officials are locally. So I just hope that. While candidates knock doors this year, people actually answer them, because I've heard that it's been getting pretty tough to get folks to even answer the door right now. And you could be Mother Teresa. It's just the door ain't getting answered, So I just hope that our public is as active as the candidates are at this time of the year to truly learn and to vote.
I hope they do get active.
Yeah.
You look at the last few voting statistics, it's a low turnout. Yeah, it's a consolidated election. Everybody loses sight of it when you just had the November election and you're just beat about the head with all this advertisement. Right. You get sick of it. You don't want to hear it.
Right.
People make a lot of campaign promises they don't fulfill. The only promise I got is getting this comprehensive study done, and we will then focus on it in board meetings. You've got to focus on it.
And I wanted to follow up on it because it's a great conversation to have. And do you see a way that you can hold yourselves accountable as board members? Is there, and you can't, I don't know necessarily the word punish yourself is the term, but is there a way where you can check and balance this to where if it's not being met, whether it's with your board or in the next, election, if you don't fulfill office and they keep the plan going, is there going to be checks and balances do you see in there?
Well, I'm not bashful about bringing it up, and I'll bring it up. And we have to grade ourselves, and we have to stick to a plan.
Yeah.
Right now, our plan really consists of goals. It doesn't have a lot of steps as to how we're going to achieve that. So it's not really what I call a comprehensive plan.
Yeah.
I think the last one we did as a citizens group that was a good plan was the one Mayor Campion did in 2007. I think it became an ordinance in 2008. But we got to have something we can measure we're attaining it or not. And we may get into it and realize, hey, this is probably not the right way to go. Let's modify this and do it a different way. Mm-hmm. But I think the important point is bring it out and look at what have we accomplished. And if we haven't accomplished anything, we should be ashamed of ourselves. Right. If we're making progress toward it, let's take credit for it. Because a lot of that is going to be from citizens' input anyway with meetings as we put this thing together. So, it's something I'm going to put as a priority because I think planning is what's going to help us grow. And in a way we can manage. I'm not talking about doubling our population in 2 years.
Right.
That's just ridiculous.
Right.
It won't work. But let's do something where we're growing. If we don't grow, then our non-real estate tax revenues aren't going to grow. And as our services get more expensive, which everybody's salary is going up, the cost of materials is going up, we're going to have to start looking at other. I hate to go back to real estate taxes to supplement the budget. They're only about $450,000, and you got state income tax and state sales tax. It's over 50% of our budget. So the more we can push, I guess you call them usage taxes.
Yeah.
Those that use it pay for it, and it's not as cumbersome as real estate taxes. And if you looked at your taxes in the last couple of years, they've been going up a lot because of the equalization factors. And I think this year it's going to go up almost 10% again. It's just crazy. So we have to look at non-real estate tax revenues and what we can do to expand that. Mm-hmm. And you get into everybody's doing gaming. Everybody's been jumping onto the dispensaries because there's potentially big tax money there. Sure. I think gaming brings the village probably $320,000 or $330,000.
Wow.
We don't know what the dispensary is bringing us because nobody can see it right now.
Do you have to? Is it just a timing thing, or?
Well, supposedly it's buried in sales tax, and nobody can break it out for you. And I I don't like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I should know what part of it's coming from the dispensary, because we're supposed to, as a village, we get 3% of every dollar sold.
Mm-hmm.
That's to Godfrey. So then we can use that to help Godfrey. So, those are two things that they're a little slippery, but that helps bring some revenue too. So is that going to bring us another $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 between the two of them? We don't know yet. So
well, it's just what I like though is it's just a matter of fact, because you've been in the seat and you kind of seen this process play out, and you know that you just can't make claims like candidates who like new candidates who can go, oh yeah, we're gonna do this and we're gonna eliminate this tax break and we're gonna go and free. You can't do all that. It's about really having a conversation and seeing what's happening. Now, do you foresee, can you get this broken out? Would that be a board vote?
I don't.
Is that
get the what?
Would the board have to vote to separate the budget or the sales tax from that audit, or is there?
No. That's.
Because if you can't, I didn't know if you could.
It just comes as a line item.
Oh, that's right.
We don't have control over that. That's the state. I think that's going to be a state issue.
See, I didn't know if the council could vote on, or board of trustees could vote on how the budget's broken out. I didn't know if that was.
We vote on the budget every year.
Mm-hmm.
So we got money allocated to streets, stormwater problems. Then we've got. Well, obviously, we got the police contract we got to pay for, so that right now is about $3.4 million. Mm-hmm. That goes up a little every year, and in 2027, that's going to be a whole renewal, a new contract that we're going to have to put together. So we got to keep that in mind as to what that expense is going to be. I don't think it's going to stay where it is. It's obviously going to go up. The question is how much.
And one thing I wanted to bring up too, and it was about your background in housing, because I mean, obviously we know that real estate is your bread and butter, and you've seen this. How do you see Godfrey growing its housing market in a way that's not, you've touched on it during the break and a couple of times about different models of housing, apartments or condos. But do you see it in a way where you guys can do this in phases, or would it be just intermixed per developer in the next 10 years?
I think it's a combination of all that. You're going to have to do it in phases. You're going to have to try and lay out. My vision is you try and lay out your current. You got to look at your current zoning and how does that lay out compared to what you want it to be, and what modifications do we have to make. And then you're going to have to figure out what developers will come in here and do this. We have local developers that, again, we can't forget them because they've been doing the development.
Right.
And you're going to get somebody come in here that'll come through, blow through in a storm, throw up a bunch of stuff, and they're gone, and they haven't done much for the community except this little bit of housing. Yeah. So there's nothing there. But I think when you look at the plan, what we have to change, and then look at the types of housing we have that make it affordable for everybody. This market is crazy right now. It's just, the prices I see are just ridiculous at times.
And one thing I was curious about, and I really don't know the answer to this, is does Godfrey have a program? Because I know there's home ownership programs around Madison County, and different towns have them, but in terms of, I always go back to the 80-year-old resident that's been, paying their taxes and trash bill on time, and they're on a fixed income and their HVAC system completely breaks. And, fixed income, there's no money, maybe there's very little financing available. Is there a program that helps homeowners with that are on fixed income repair things inside their home to keep properties looking nice?
I don't know exactly, but I think if you look at some of the charitable organizations around here, there are charitable organizations that will help people out. You got Ameren has some programs. You've got Madison County has some programs, especially if you're getting into utilities, you can't afford them before they get shut off. You get some assistance.
True.
People that want to buy houses, you've got all kinds of grants. I think probably the best one right now is the Down Payment Plus plan that some of the banks are doing. Not every bank can participate, but at the right income level, you can get $10,000 that's forgivable over 5 years. You can get Madison County grant money. You can get Alton City grant money. So there's ways to do it, but you got to, and that's another big pet peeve of mine. You got to talk with the local banks. Don't get on the internet. Don't go to a different country or state. Stay local.
Yeah.
They're going to be as competitive as anybody else. You're going to know what your costs are. The other way, you're going to get hit with hidden costs.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have to come up with money that you didn't expect.
Very fast.
So there's programs out there, but usually the charitable organizations can help with a lot of people. It's just getting to know who can do that.
100%.
So, yeah. But
Another thing, too, that I think Godfrey's done a really good job of is trying to promote all of their businesses as best as they can. And I'm not saying that to patronize you. It's just, it's cool to see a website that's literally about every business and event that's happening within your village. Do you foresee that continuing to grow?
Well, I think we have to continue to grow that because it helps promote the businesses in Godfrey. And people don't know about certain businesses because they're not out all the time.
True.
And I'm big on, if I can go buy it at a local business, I'll do that.
Right.
I've got a lot of friends that don't want to do anything but Amazon. My concern is that the local people, if it's whatever it costs, I'm not going to go exorbitant, but if I can get it here, I'll get it here because it keeps people employed.
Jeff Bezos isn't sponsoring the ladybugs at Godfrey, Park and Rec.
No. And they're not employing people that are in the different stores that then put money back into the community. That's my big deal.
That's very true. And honestly, the growth too. I mean, you had a few new restaurants coming in, Godfrey, the last couple of years. Are there any new ones that you foresee coming down the pipeline relatively quickly?
I would hope we could get some new ones. I don't know what they are at this point.
Just curious if you had any or if there was. I always ask that just in case.
I haven't heard it now. Jim Magger, our business development manager, may hear it before I hear it, but I do have people that may be looking at stuff, and then they don't want it talked about because they don't want people to know what they're doing until they're ready to do it. So that's confidential type stuff. But
what do you think is the biggest priority on voters' minds, just in Godfrey? When you're talking with folks, whether it's while you're showing a house or while you're working your day job or you're having a phone call about city or a village business, is there one issue one topic?
It varies again.
Really?
You get some people are looking at taxes. Other people want the rec center. The rec center could bring growth. It could keep families here. It could bring new families into the area. You got roads. I mean, roads and storm drain problems, those get to be big issues.
Yeah.
So it sort of varies again, but I'd say in those three we've got it. I think most people are happy with it. I'm happy with Madison County doing the police service. Right now, we don't contract with a trash service. I don't want to contract with a trash service. Let people gravitate to where they want. But that's what I hear. I don't want to raise taxes if I don't have to.
100%.
So you go from there. The rec center, I think it's a great concept. I would like it, but like I said in the Godfrey thing, we have to know what it is the citizens want, and can we do it? How big is that facility? We've got the money to probably pay for it. Is that the right way to do it? And then what's it going to cost to staff and maintain it once we do it?
Right.
That's the big problem.
Well, 100% over. And I think that's the biggest problem. I think we get these rose-colored glasses sometimes, and you go, man, that looks cool. It's and then you realize, well, maybe it's great for some other people, and it's not too great for us.
Oh yeah.
Do you think that how important is taking a breath, especially as a trustee, because it seems like you guys, just from watching some of these meetings, I mean, you get things thrown at you pretty quickly. Presentations made about saving Kratom and everything else, and you're having to sit there and be respectful and still not let things go out of order. How quickly did you adapt to this role? Is what I'm kind of wanting to figure out the most about you.
Geez, it took me a long time to.
Did it really?
I'm still trying to get my arms around the whole thing. But when you get to the meetings, I call it the Friday night dump. I've got to, if I don't get it Friday night, I get it Saturday. I got to look through it, get ready. I got to start calling people that I've got questions about. Rich and Tony are great when it comes to building and zoning and engineering. So you got to work with that. And sometimes if I'm not ready for it, I'll lay it over. The electrical licensing. Ordinance.
Was that with the folks that were trying to get like sprinklers? Was that?
No.
That was a different one.
Illinois doesn't license electricians. Now you have some communities here like Granite City and whatnot that are licensing electricians. You have to be licensed in order to work in Granite City to do electrical work. And this was, once you get the electrical ordinance in place, it was going to have an office, and then you're going to the electrical inspector, then you're going to have a board, and then they have the option to make up rules and regulations, and you have to take a test, and you got to pass the test to get licensed. Otherwise, you can't do electrical work. And it was, if you add a load to your electrical system, you're going to have a licensed electrician, or you do it yourself. And we're going to add switches, or we're going to add outlets or fans or whatever. It finally got to registration for issues where you're pulling your meter. So it's like a new circuit breaker box, generators, solar panels.
Mm-hmm.
Still wasn't happy with it because I don't think we need to be registered. It's not the electricians that are creating the problem. What it appeared to be is it was the pool people and the landscaping people that don't know what they're doing, and they create the problem.
Right.
So, it's a barrier for the little people, the little outfits to work in, because let's say you've got the big ones like a Wegman or a Camp. All they need is one person licensed for it or registered for it. They may not work in Godfrey, but they're registered for it.
Right.
That I didn't think was fair either.
No.
So,
well, and it's a good point, because I do remember that, and remember the line specifically about, you have these folks that come in that are putting sprinkler system, and you're 100% correct.
With the new materials and stuff, I'm not for sprinkler systems in houses. The materials and the let's say the technology has changed such that shouldn't be your problem. Now you get into big commercial buildings and then I do think there's a reason for that because of the number of people.
Right.
But not in homes. It's just going to add a tremendous amount of expense to it.
Mm-hmm. And what is your thought on the ATV issue? Just because that has been something that has been.
Well, I'm not sure. I was not for ATVs being
on the roads.
City roads.
Yes.
And the problem we have is we got a lot of county and state roads in our area. Mm-hmm. And I just think that, let's say people start using the side-by-sides, ATVs or whatever. Now you got a problem if somebody's doing something they shouldn't be doing and how they get away from people and things like that. And it's just, it's going to create a problem. How do you manage it? How do you control it? I don't think the police would like it if they had the choice to do it either.
Yeah, no, 100%.
No, you can do it where you're doing it in the country. You've got golf carts. Just be good with it. We can't just let ATVs go all over Godfrey roads because it's bad enough with traffic today as it is.
I agree with you on that. And then, just remember George Jones still got one on a tractor, so you're still going to get one on a four-wheeler, going forward as we're getting closer to April, what do you want the public to know about you the most in Godfrey as you're looking for at least, that next 1 more 4 years?
Well, the thing I try to tell people is I try to do what is right for Godfrey, regardless of my self-interest. I'm not here working for my benefit. I'm trying to do what's right for the Village of Godfrey. Mm-hmm. Now, some people may not agree with what my decision is. Other people will. But I'm trying to analyze what the situation is, evaluate it, talk to people I need to get more information, but try to do what's right for Godfrey. We have to keep it growing. We have to keep the non-real estate tax revenue going, and we have to give people a reason, whether it's people, businesses, hotels, a reason to come into Godfrey. We can't just wait for them to find us. That's my big thing. How do we do that and do it in a manageable fashion?
How can people get in touch with you to find out more, maybe even get a yard sign? Are you doing yard signs?
They can call me on my phone. It's on almost all my real estate stuff. But no, all they got to do is call me or they can text me, email me, whatever.
Really cool.
But yeah, I got plenty of signs. I'm waiting until the snow gets by to go put some more out. But I'll probably start putting more of those out this weekend.
Well, really cool. And seriously, best of luck as we get to April 1st. And then just to clarify, it's the top 3 vote getters, correct? Out of the
top 3 vote getters. We're not like Alton where you're running in a district.
Yeah.
This is village-wide. So it's the top 3 vote getters. Every 2 years we do the others. The other 3, then 3, and the mayor's every 4.
Really cool. I just wanted to make sure they knew that, just in case.
Yeah, top 3.
With that being said, 9:46, a little bit of change. It is a whopping 5 degrees. We'll take a quick break and come back.